Welcome to Global Forum, a platform for discussion of global issues from global perspectives. We have a special program focused on Pakistan and its continued constitutional crises. We are going to discuss the crises, its genesis, and its possible consequences, and what will mean for the possibility of democracy taking root in Pakistan. We are very fortunate to have in our studios Mr. Justice Wajihuddin Ahmed Sahab, who has gone through the whole process of being at the High Court, the Supreme Court, and the Attorney General of Pakistan, and he's a professor of law. But most importantly, he has been seen as one of the patron saints of the lawyers' movement in Pakistan. Welcome, Justice Sahab. Justice Sahab, please tell us, what do you think is the status of the movement in Pakistan right now? Where is the struggle for justice, not just for the judges, but where is the struggle for justice in Pakistan at this stage? If you had to give us a status report, what would be the status report, sir?
The movement in Pakistan is as strong as it ever was. There has been a slight reverse, if you may call it that, when the huge gathering that we were able to get together in Islamabad was dispersed at the brink of the National Assembly session itself, which was only a few hours away. The lawyers and members of this civil society were extremely well placed at that time. The assembly session was about to reconvene. That was the time when we should have stood our ground and negotiated a workable arrangement with regard to the restoration of the superior judiciary in Pakistan. But that, of course, apart, the movement is again trying to take off. We have had this recent press conference of the General Secretary of the Supreme Court Bar Association, where he has said that there is going to be a meeting on the 19th of this month, where they would again delve into the question of taking out another long march, and this time they are very clear that it is going to combine with a dharna or a sit-in. So surely matters are progressing satisfactorily. These things do take time. If you take law into your own hands, if you don't take a more placid and a more complacent attitude, perhaps results can be achieved more quickly. But then many a times disasters cannot be avoided if that kind of option is taken. So I think all in all, everything is fine and moving in the right direction.
Yes. Justice Sahab, I think the different kinds of inquiry one could or one does make about the long march partly depends on how one reads a historical movement, a social movement, what's the methodology. And only those people who expect immediate results from movements, who have no understanding of the history of movements, will have that kind of expectation. It seems to me a major achievement for this movement was A, to bring about nationwide mobilization, and B, to keep it completely peaceful. Those are two major achievements given the situation right now. Let me ask you, a movement has to have some goals, a core group to pursue those goals, and a modality that people can buy into that modality. It seems right now the biggest stumbling block to that is Pakistan People's Party. Not that People's Party is necessarily an enemy force, but its stance has created difficulties which must be discussed and overcome. And the biggest difficulty, I think, have been presented by way of the constitutional package itself. For two reasons. One, it obviously says that they are not going to use the executive order, which was the preferred and easier method. And secondly, itself is so complex and so contradictory that it creates as many problems it seeks to solve. What's your judgment, what's your analysis of the constitutional package?
If you allow me to speak frankly,
please,
I would say that I have never seen a worse constitutional document. I have never seen a worse bundle of contradictions than the so-called constitutional package. In fact, if you start analyzing motives, you will find motives here, motives there, and motives everywhere.
Isn't it also perpetuate a tradition started by Ziaul Haq, continued by Musharraf, and now being institutionalized, at least attempted to be institutionalized by Mr. Zardari, that is creating individual-specific legislation? Because the rule of law is supposed to be impersonal, isn't it, above the individuals?
Exactly so. In fact, it is person-specific in the context of Pervez Musharraf himself. It is person-specific in the context of Mr. Zardari. It is person-specific with regard to Abdul Hamid Dogar. They want to increase the age of the Supreme Court judges just because they want to have him for a longer duration in the Supreme Court. And the tenure and duration of others, again, in the same context, is sought to be curtailed, because to Iftikhar Chaudhry, they are prepared to accord only 5 years as Chief Justice, and thereafter an obvious opportunity is calculated to be provided to Abdul Hamid Dogar. Then we have Javed Iqbal, who is the next senior most judge in the Supreme Court after Justice Iftikhar Chaudhry. They are trying to penalize him for a crime. For a crime, if it is a crime at all, of accommodating the Pervez Musharraf regime. He accepted to become the chairman of the press council to accommodate the point of view of Pervez Musharraf, that Pervez Musharraf had effectively retired the Supreme Court judges, but they don't want to have him, because if he is there, Dogar will have no chance to become Chief Justice. And then, of course, Rana Bhagwan Das, the age of all and sundry is going to be raised to 68, but Rana Bhagwan Das would stand retired at the age of 65. So I think really it's a shameful document.
Now here what we also see in this document is ex post facto legislation, indicating every law passed between 12th of July and 15th of December is indemnified. It deemed to be made by a competent authority and cannot be called into question any court on any ground whatsoever, which is as comprehensive an indemnity that could be granted, and is person specific. Given the fact, Justice Saab, that Pakistani civil society right now is not able to change the position. Now it seems like there are two main options. Either People's Party will continue with the status quo by way of deadlock over the constitutional package, or the worst option will be they'll be able to implement the constitutional package. Regardless of either consequence, either option, do you think there will be some negative consequences for People's Party out of this process?
I think negative consequences have already started. Prior to the general elections on February 18, 2008, Pervez Musharraf was the most unpopular person in Pakistan. Now, slowly and gradually, Mr. Asif Ali Zardari is creeping in to take that position.